Good morning to everyone. In the previous lecture, we discussed the calculation of moment of various types of the beams subjected to various types of the loads and calculation of the moment of inertia. So, for a simple one, say as a rectangle. So, suppose if you want to calculate the bending stress on a T section subjected to a uniformly at the point load at any one of its ends, initially we have to calculate the moment of inertia about the centroidal axis. So in the I section, the geometry is symmetric about the horizontal as well as the vertical axis, but in case of the T section, it is not symmetric about both the axes. Simply it is symmetric about only vertical axis. That's why we have to calculate the centroid and at which we have to represent or that is considered as a neutral axis. So for that, so better to recall once again calculation of the centroid of a particular geometry, say as T section, and how to calculate the moment of inertia of the same cross sectional area of the same geometry about that centroidal axis. So it is, first part is the calculation of CG. So whenever the problem is given in such a way that it is called as a composite section, that composite section is split up into number of regular shapes for the calculation purpose. Here I would like to split up the T section into two parts. Say that is the one is the first part, say this is web. This is the web. So this is the first part in a rectangular shape or element 1. Its dimensions, say that is 2, for example, say as B1. So then the depth of the rectangle, say as D1 is equal to 8. So then split up that T section as the second element is in a rectangular shape of dimensions. Let us assume it is B2 equal to 6 and D2 is equal to again 2. So the bottom one is assumed as x-axis. This is assumed as x-axis. About this axis, I would like to find out the centroid. So, for example, the centroid of the element 1 is as G1. The centroid of the element 2 is G2. Just we have to measure the vertical distance from the x axis to the G1 and G2. Say here that is assumed as Y1. This is assumed as Y1. This is assumed as Y2. Just as we know that Y bar is equal to A1 Y1 plus A2 Y2 whole divided by A1 plus A2. What we have to calculate? You have to calculate the area of the first rectangle and area of the second rectangle and the vertical distance from the chosen x-axis to the centroidal distance as G1 and G2. So from that geometry, here A1 is equal to B1 into D1, that is equal to 2 into 8, that is equal to 16. Say all dimensions mm or centimeters or meters, whatever it may be. Then what about the y1? From the geometry, y1 is equal, so that is b by 2, here that is d by 2, that is equal to 8 by 2, which is equal to 4. So So that is the A1 and Y1. Coming to the second element of dimensions, B2 is equal to 6 and D2 is equal to 2. Here A2 is equal to, so what about that value? B2 is equal to 6 and D2 is equal to 2, that is equal to 12. What about the Y2? Here we have to remember one more thing from the geometry. So we know the distance from the x-axis to the bottom of the rectangle, that is 8, which is equal to D1. And what about the centroidal distance from the bottom of this rectangle, that is always D2 by 2. So therefore, so D1 plus D2 by 2, that is equal to D1 is 8 plus D2 is 2 divided by 2, which is equal to 9. So from this geometry, we know the A1, A2, Y1 and Y2. Substitute all these values in this equation number 1. So from that is equal to, what about the A1? 16 into what about the Y1? 4 plus what about the A2? 12 and what about the Y2? That is 9 whole divided by, so A1 plus A2, that is 16 plus 12. Finally, it is equal to 6.14. It is the central distance measured from the chosen x-axis at bottom of the T section. So it is very important one. So just I would like to represent centroidal distance. So this is the geometry of the given one. The y bar is measured. So this is capital G, represented by capital G. It is the y bar, which is equal to 6.1. So this is called as centroidal axis, or if you draw the axis passing through this, called as centroidal axis XE. So in the calculation of the bending stress, this is also called as or chosen as the neutral axis. So about this axis, we have to calculate the moment of inertia, and then you have to find out the bending stress or measure the y value from this XC axis only. It means, so it would be definitely, what about the total value, that is extreme fibers. These are the extreme fibers. Say this is y1, or for example y11, this is called as y22. So suppose if you want to calculate the bending stress about this top edge, you have to take the y22. Suppose if you want to calculate the bending stress at here, so this is the y1. So suppose if you want to calculate section modulus with respect to the neutral axis with considering the y1 as well as y2, it means you have to calculate the z1 and z2. So what about the z value? Z is equal to I by y. Suppose if you want to calculate section modulus with respect to the bottom of the T section, that is I by y11. So similarly, that is z1, it becomes z1. So suppose if you want to calculate that I divided by y2, that is z2. So here what we did, simply we calculated the centroid of a T section with the given dimensions. So why we have to calculate? To locate the neutral axis or to identify the neutral axis. So the bending stress or the y value is always measured from the neutral axis only, as well as the moment of inertia is also always should take with respect to the centroidal axis only. So that's why initially we have to calculate the centroid of a given section. Then we calculate the we are going to calculate the bending moment as well as the moment of inertia about the axis. So in the first part, we calculate the centroidal distance from the chosen axis at bottom of the T section, which is equal to y bar, which is equal to 6.1. So the second part is calculation of moment of inertia. Calculation of moment of inertia about centroidal axis. Here, so we have to take central axis as a neutral axis for our understanding only. Here, the centroid of the T section is represented by capital G. Just I would like to take that as a axis. So draw a horizontal straight line passing through the capital G, that is represented as or considered as a central axis of the composite section, which is equal to 6.1 from the bottom only. About this axis, we have to calculate the moment of inertia. About the XC axis, we have to calculate the moment of inertia. For example, that is represented by I. So the moment of inertia of the first rectangle about the XC axis plus the moment of inertia of this rectangle about this axis. So for our convenience, that is represented as I XX of 1. It means the moment of inertia of the first rectangle about the XC axis. The moment of inertia of the shaded area about the axis plus the moment of inertia of the second rectangle about the XC axis. This is the formula. So it means the moment of inertia of the first rectangle about this axis. So for that calculation, so A as, so IXC of 1, that geometry is represented, say this is the rectangle. So this is, say this is the first rectangle. Am I right? This is the first rectangle. Let us assume the central axis is represented XC. All right. The central, this is the central axis of the T section, not through this rectangle. Say this rectangle is labeled as capital AB CD. So XC is the non-centroidal axis of the rectangle. What about the centroidal axis of the rectangle ABC? This is the centroidal axis of the rectangle ABC. Say as this is the centroidal axis of ABCD. That is the important one. So just we have to calculate. I think that we know the, so B1, this is the B1, this is B1. So this is D1, as we know that this is D1, right? So the moment of inertia of this rectangle about this B1 D1 cube by 12, we know that, but this is not the required. So this is the non-central axis. By using the parallel axis theorem, the moment of inertia of the rectangle ABCD about the non-central axis is, that is IXC of 1 is equal to, so for example this is assumed as IX1 bar. It becomes IX1 bar plus A1 into the perpendicular distance between these two parallel axes as h1 square. So this is the formula. So for that, let us see. So I xc of 1 is equal to I x x1 bar plus a1 into h1 square. So simply that is equal to b1 d1 cube by 12 plus a1 into, what about the h1? We know the y bar, which is equal to 9, that is equal to, what about this? This is y bar, that is 6.1. So simply that is equal to y bar minus y1. Y bar minus y1, that is equal to y bar minus y1 whole square. Simply substitute all these values in this equation. Very simple. So what about that value? b1 is known, that is equal to, d1 is also known, that is equal to 8 cube by 12 plus 2 into 8. What about the y bar? 6.1 minus, what about the y1? y1 is the 4 whole square. So finally this value is equal to, so that is equal to, very simple, x1 y1, so that is equal to 155.89, that is in terms of, for example, mm power 4. Similarly, coming to the calculation of the, so this is over. The moment of inertia of the first elemental area about the non-central axis of that area is 155.89. So xc is the central axis of T section. Now coming to the second elemental. So this is the second element. So this is second element. So we know that, say this is the central axis of second element represented as x2. So I think that we know this is the central axis of the composite section represented as xc. It is non-central axis to the element 2, second element. So these two axes are parallel to each other. This is called as h2. So what about the perpendicular distance? This is y bar is equal to 6.1. So this is g1. What about this value? It is simply y2, that is equal to 9. We know all the values, that is equal to, what about that value? This is equal to, say, as b2, that is 6. This is also given, that is d2 is equal to 2. We know all the values. Again, we know the moment of, we have to calculate the moment of inertia of the second rectangle about this axis is represented by ixc of 2. So we know this value, that is ix2x2 bar, which is equal to b2 d2 cube by 12. So finally, what about the final value? So that is equal to ixc of 2 is equal to ix2x2 bar plus a2h2 whole square, that is equal to, what about the moment of inertia of the second rectangle about its central axis, that is b2 d2 cube by 12 plus, what about the area? Area is also known, that is a2. What about the h2? h2 is y2 minus y bar whole square. Substitute all the values in this equation. Finally, we will get the moment of inertia. So that is equal to, what about the b2? That is equal to 6. What about the d2? That is 2 cube by 12 plus 6 into 2. What about the y2? We know that 9 minus y bar is 6.1 whole square. Finally, it is 104. It is 104.08. For example, if it is mm4. So we calculated the moment of inertia of the first rectangle about non-central axis xc and the moment of inertia of the second rectangle about the non-central axis xc. So the combination of these two or summation of these two is the moment of inertia of the T section about its central axis, that is equal I is equal. What about that value? I xc of first rectangle plus I xc of second rectangle. Its value is 155.89 plus 104. So finally, approximately it is equal to 260.81 mm over 4. So what we did, first we identified we look at the centroid, that is the first part. Then calculation of the moment of inertia about its central axis. What we did initially, this composite section is divided into two regular shapes. One is in a hatching shape portion, second one is non-hatching portion. So both are in rectangular shapes. What we have to find out? We have to find out the moment of inertia of this composite section about the central axis represented here as xc. For that, it is neither central axis of the first one nor it is neither central axis of the both the elemental areas nor base. So that's why, so always you must find out the moment of inertia of the first triangle about its non-central axis xc and the moment of inertia of the second rectangle about this axis. For that we are using the parallel axis theorem. So according to the parallel axis theorem, so this is the equation for the calculation of moment of inertia of the first rectangle about the central axis of the T section, as well that. So as usually the moment of inertia of the first rectangle about the central axis is BDQ by 12, we know that, and both the axes are parallel to each other. So one of its axis is passing through the centroid. So if you want to use the parallel axis theorem, you must verify one of its axis is parallel, one of its axis is passing through the centroid of an element or not. If it is not passing through the centroid of any one of its element, so this formula or this theorem is not applicable. So this is the key point. Suppose if you want to use the parallel axis theorem, one of its axis must be passing through the centroid of an area. Here, so this is the non-central axis, this is the central axis. That's why, so definitely we use the parallel axis theorem. So this is the, coming to the next one is also, this is the central axis of this rectangle, this is the non-central axis of the rectangle 2. Both are parallel to each other. So suppose if you want to use the parallel axis theorem, you have to check one of its axis is passing through the centroid or not, and both are parallel to each other. Here that conditions are satisfied. So we use the parallel axis theorem, and by using this parallel axis theorem, we calculated the moment of inertia of the first rectangle. So the moment of inertia of the second rectangle by using the parallel axis theorem, which is equal to 104. So finally, the moment of inertia of the total area about the central axis of the T section is calculated. So already we know the centroid, we know the equation m by I is equal stress by y is equal E by R. In the previous class, there is no difficulty to calculate the moment of inertia because it is symmetric about both the axes, but it is not symmetric about both the axes. That's why the geometry is very simple rather than that of this. So if you want to calculate the moment of inertia about the central axis, initially we have to find out the center of the composite section. So how to calculate the centroid and how to calculate the moment of inertia. Today we covered the two concepts for calculating the bending stress subjected to a any kind of the loading system. So then we solve one kind of the problem like T section as well as the C section by calculating the centroid and by calculating the moment of inertia about the central axis. What is the necessity of the calculation of the central axis? While determining the moment bending stress, we have to identify the neutral axis. The central axis is taken as a neutral axis. So we will continue the one more typical problem in the next class. So better to remember these 2 points. Thank you.